It's Devlog 6 of my multiplayer gun building game, and this time we're focusing on gun parts. By the end we'll have 42,000 possible variations, and for comparison, Borderlands only had 17 million. Borderlands only had 17,000. The top liked comment on my last video was to create a bayonet attachment, and I've already committed myself, so I better stick to it. So I opened Blender and started modeling. Around halfway through I realized I hadn't actually implemented much of the bayonet design, so let's just rename this to Bladed Barrel instead. Next I moved on to the other attachment I teased in my last video, a bladed handle. So first I sketched my design, and back in Blender without any design I started making the model. Honestly, I think as long as I ensure the abstract shape looks good, it will turn out right. Just might not always make perfect sense. Next I created some icons and added the parts to the build station. In game the bladed handle looks pretty cool, but the animation I made for the bayonet stab looks pretty scuffed. And there's a few things I want to clean up before I add any more parts. First I recreated the bayonet stab animation. Next I added mantle again. I did have it previously with climbing, but climbing got deleted in Devlog 3. The animation is far from perfect, but I've tried so many animations and this is the best I've got so far. Currently my run animation is more of a sprint, and it unequips your weapon, which looks cool but doesn't fit with the flow of the game. So I decided to remake the run animation and keep the weapon equipped this time. I iterated through a few animations and eventually settled on this pose for the running animation. I fixed and reworked the projectile networking code, so now the client view looks correct even on higher ping. I even started messing around with skyboxes, but they're still a work in progress. And I also got very sidetracked and started making new maps, but that can be for the next devlog. One of the reasons this devlog took forever is because my spleen had decided to hit the self-destruct button and had grown to the size of a football. So I had surgery to remove it, and while I was recovering on the couch, I stole my brother's MacBook and created my own custom command console. So now I can add this attribute above any method in my project and can call it in my new console, which is super handy for even just changing things like the FPS limit. Once I had recovered, I started working on the gun parts again. The only movement abilities we currently have are the knockback barrel and the impulse launcher. So let's create the most used movement ability, the dash. I decided to make it a dash stock and mostly copied the M4 stock design for the model. In Unity, I coded the dash ability, which was mostly just copying a lot of the knockback barrel code. I also found that combining the dash with a slide sent you flying, so I clamped this value, but don't worry, I do love mechanics like this, so you can still get some pretty good speed. Game development is all about problem solving, and the sponsor of this video, Brilliant, helps you master that. Brilliant is a hands-on learning app designed to help both me and you level up our thinking. Instead of just watching boring lectures, you'll learn by doing, solving interactive coding challenges that break down hard concepts into fun, bite-sized exercises, which has proven to be 6 times more effective. It teaches maths, science, data analysis, AI, but the one we really love is programming. The newly updated programming courses will build you a solid foundation in coding, from loops, variables, conditions, and patterns. And don't worry, you'll learn from the ground up. You'll develop a programmer's mindset and even start coding in Python from day one. And the best part, you can learn at your own pace. Whether you've got 5 minutes or an hour, you can sharpen your skills anytime and anywhere. Having a solid foundation in coding and problem solving is essential for developing a game, and Brilliant trains you for all of that. So if you want to level up your programming skills and think like a programmer, check out everything Brilliant has to offer for 30 days free by visiting this link, which is also in the description. You'll also get 20% off an annual premium subscription. Thanks to Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Now with the current parts, we can't really create a machine gun looking build, so the next part I added was the drum mag handle. This was quite a simple part to implement, just large mag and long reload time. I did however spend quite a bit of time creating this generic reload animation. I'll also be able to use this on future parts. I still like my previous reloads, but they were also very time consuming. So this is what the sniper build currently looks like. Not very snipery. So I modeled a new bigger scope in Blender. I added it to the project, and then I made the new scope have a very strong zoom. Lastly, I reworked the old scope to work more like a light mini scope. For the scoped in view, you normally create a new model or replace the scope with a 2D image, but what I did was just squish the scope instead. Next up, we're going to create the hardest part, but also the most requested part, the grapple gun. The grapple gun model was inspired a lot by Batman's grapple gun. just reshaped to fit as a gun part. With the new grapple part in the game, I started by coding the grapple to fire to a point with a line renderer attached. Only issue is it's rather stiff, and I want it to have some flow. So after a little bit of tinkering with shader graphs, we have this, which is a lot more flowy. Now, I had to add vertices to the line renderer with a C# script anyway, so I decided to just delete the shader graph and just code the warp in the same script, which ended up only being a few extra lines of code. Now I just need to pull the player towards the grapple point. Oh look, a bug, another bug, another bug, another. Eventually I got it working. If you want to be one of the first to try out the game, then you already know the drill. Because I had created a whole system for networking the projectiles, I decided I may as well create a crossbow. I altered the grapple gun model and attached bow rings. Then back in Unity, I managed to code the new ability pretty fast. The difficult part is writing the server authentication code, which is pretty much how it goes with everything I add in this project now. If the server isn't re-simulating the player's actions, then I need to perform as many checks as possible to ensure the player isn't hacking. I talked about this before, but making a multiplayer game would be 10 times easier if we could just trust the player. Anyway, so far we have a magazine for every part except for the sights and the barrel. And while the top magazine could work, let's just start with a barrel magazine. Also look, if we start questioning how this part works, then we start questioning all the parts. And we just into anarchy. Anyway, I was able to quickly add this into the game with the generic reload. One of the most liked ideas in my Discord was the Revolver gun core. And my game doesn't have a semi-auto gun core yet, so I jumped in Blender again. Here's the Revolver gun core I created. Honestly, I didn't think it looked too bad in Blender, but then after implementing it in Unity, I just hated it. I'm trying my best not to waste time, but... So back to Blender I went, and this time I tried to focus on emphasizing the cylinder part. I updated the model in Unity and it's so much better. Sometimes you just gotta press delete. So I love the way the guns are looking with the yellow and blue colors. But this isn't going to be the only colors available in the game. So it's about time I work on the new gun skins. One option would be to change the color for each texture, but I've got 20 plus textures times 10 gun skins equals too long, I can't be bothered. So instead, I set out on a quest to change the colors with a shader graph. Essentially, the shader graph just masked out everything that wasn't yellowy orange and then overlaid the new primary color. And I repeated this for the secondary color. It sounds so easy now, but it wasn't. Then I created a new script for changing the gun skin and added the method to my new command console. So here's some new skins that my Discord suggested. Also, don't worry, I still plan to add custom textures with more details. I'm not sure whether to add gun skins or unlock colors through achievements. Let me know what you guys would prefer in the comments. I also updated the shotgun so it's single shot now. Before it had 2 shots, which made reloading kind of confusing. The pellet spread is no longer random, and I updated the cartridge that gets ejected, so now it's an actual shotgun cartridge. Also, I saw a few comments asking why he doesn't reload the chamber. Well, the ammo still comes from the magazine you have attached to your gun, so I guess it probably should eject junk, not a perfect shotgun cartridge. But hey, we start questioning it and we all into anarchy. That's it for this devlog. I only have 1v1 gameplay this time, but next devlog I'll make sure to get a few more friends on again. Steam wishlist below as usual, hit subscribe, hit like, blah blah blah. Thanks for watching.